Hey there, I'm Mark Renneson, and welcome to another episode of Pickleball Today. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about technique and some of the pros. We're going to look at coaching ideas. We're going to look at point breakdowns, all sorts of stuff. So let's get to it. Yates is one of the premier pickleball players out there, really one of the legends of the game. Let's take a look at this point, and then we're going to break it down. So notice how Yates starts his serve here. It's pretty basic, pretty standard. Doesn't do a whole lot of this pre-serve routine. I mean basic in a good way, of course. He's got a really solid base here. His feet are wide apart, and you can see his legs are in a position, because he's sort of almost like he's sitting here, he's going to be able to drive with his legs. Notice that the ball is forward already. That's where he's going to make contact with it. And there's very little ball movement here. The less ball movement there is, the less risk there is when hitting it. Notice how the rotation begins with the left side of his body here. And as he rotates, his right wrist lays back. This is going to be important because this is going to help get acceleration of the paddle through contact here. That laid back wrist is really important. Remember how he was sitting before? Well, now he's standing, and that's where you get the power from the legs, sort of that sit and stand kind of action here, able to generate a little more speed here with little less effort. I mentioned the forward impact point. Solid contact. And notice where he makes contact with the ball. It's not actually right in the center of the paddle. And he's not alone. Here we see Ben Johns. Again, look where contact is. It's not exactly in the center. Catherine Peranteau. Again, it's toward the end of the paddle. And this is really common. Sort of a misconception out there that we always want to hit the center of the paddle. Anyway, back to the serve here. Okay, so you'll see this is a unique thing about Yates. He uses his wrist rather little here. Notice how it's pretty stable all the way through. Compare that to someone like Ben Johns, and you can see the wrist comes right through. There's Tyson McGuffin, same sort of thing. The wrist comes all the way through, much more sort of loose with the wrist as they hit, allowing that acceleration. Back to Yates, you see it stays really stable, almost locked all the way through. Sort of a unique aspect of his serve. Now notice here his partner, Annalie Waters, she's playing this ball, and Yates starts going forward immediately. Why is he doing this? Well, he's applying pressure to his opponents, who are going to be up at the net. Now, he's still taking a peek. He wants to see what's happening, make sure that she's in a good position. Annalie's happy with it. Right, she gets to use that good two-handed backhand of hers. She plays this sort of like in-between drop-drive thing. Okay, anyway, so back to that in-between drop-drive thing. Look here how Yates is coming forward and coming to the middle here. Always a threat to poach. But look at this little step here. What he's doing is he's signaling that he is going to poach and taking up a lot of space over there, making it something that his opponents have to worry about. Where is he going to go? Now he has identified here that there's an opportunity. They had to play this ball well cross-court in order to get it to Waters and avoid Yates because he was taking up so much space. And that means that that ball that they hit, the opponents, it's going to be landing near that sideline. So what does Yates do? He takes off just outside of the kitchen, jumps the corner, as they say. We call this a Burt when you're sort of going for the poach and the Ernie at the same time, often called the Burt, lands outside, and look where he puts this ball perfect. Doesn't hit it that hard, but right down at the feet of his opponent. There's nothing she can do there. This is a really nice sort of drop drive-ish combination with a poach. Let's watch it one more time. Yates is such a creative player and always a threat up there at the net. This is really high-level pickleball right here. I really enjoy working with beginning players, and I think it's because they start to have success really quickly. Just a couple little teaching points here or there can really make a big difference really fast, and I find that gratifying. One of the things I thought I would do today is to share with you a little bit of a slice of an introductory lesson that I would do, and to sort of walk you through the kind of thinking that I'm going through as the coach when we do it. Okay, so why don't we take a look?
Okay, welcome. In pickleball, it's really important that we can keep the ball going, right? Hitting the ball back and forth over the net is kind of the main thing. And one of the ways that we get better at doing that is by getting more of these repetitions, by getting more of these touches in. So here's what we're going to do. Lindsay, you're in a good spot. Can you be my partner here? We're each going to hit the ball gently back and forth with a partner, just so you can be a bit closer. And I'm just going to hit softly to you. You're going to let it bounce, and then you're going to hit softly back to me. Perfect. Okay? And I'll tell you what, when we're doing this, if we feel like it's a little bit out of control, what I can always do is I can always hit a couple to myself and then send it. Okay, try it on your backhand side this time, Lindsay. So you're going to hit a couple to yourself maybe. Okay, this time hit a couple to yourself before you send it. One. Whoa, keep going, keep going. And that's it, okay? So we can let it bounce and then we can send it. Okay, perfect. So, Lindsay, how about you come here? You can be with Linda. Jarvis, why don't you come over here? You can be with Bill. If the ball goes really far away and you can't get it, just let it go. We'll grab another ball. Okay, but it's a cooperative rally. See if you can make it friendly and easy. Here we go. That's the way. Good effort, Jarvis. That's it, Linda. That's nice and friendly. Jarvis, I like the way that you bounced it a couple times before you sent it to control it. That's great. Forehand and backhand side. Jarvis, if you send it a bit slower, it'll be easier to keep the rally going. That's perfect. Good, Linda. That's the way. Okay, and stop, please. Great. You're doing really well. So it's going to be a lot easier to control where we send the ball if when we hit it, we make contact out front between our body and the net. So instead of it getting beside us or behind us. So when you go with your partner here, when you do send it over, can you try to make sure that your impact point is out front between your body and the net? Otherwise, you're doing great. Let's keep going. Good. It can be a little more in front than that, I think, Lindsay. That's a good forward impact point. Linda. Lindsay, when it comes to your left side, use a backhand, please. Like, that's perfect. Great. Bill, that's good control. Don't forget your backhand as well. There it is. Excellent. Good try, Jarvis. I like how forward it was. If you just hit a bit higher, it'll get over the net next time. Good, Linda. That's the way. Okay, let's stop for a second. Wow, you're doing great. Isn't that more fun when we can keep the ball going and play? I think it's time for a contest. So here, can I take your spot, Linda? Here's how the contest works, Lindsay. Every time we get 5 in a row, we earn a letter. So you'll see. So you start it. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm going to control it. 4 and 5. So that earns us the letter A. And now we start again. We're trying to get letter B. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's say I blow it. Oh, we go back to 0, but we still keep our letter A. Okay, so we're trying to go as 1, 2. How many in a row do we say we have to get? 3, 5. That's right. 4, 5. Okay, we're at B. Okay, so we've got 2 minutes with your partner. Work together as a team, and let's see how far through the alphabet you can get.
Will we get a letter if we actually stop?
You don't even have to stop. You can just keep it going. Ready, set, go. Oh, that's okay. Okay, try it again. That's the way. Oh, we're already, the guys are at A already. Lindsay, what are you at? C. Oh, excellent. Keep those balls nice and friendly with the impact point out front. Excellent. That's the way to get there, Lindsay. We've got 1 minute to go. You're doing great. That's the way. Oh, the guys are at C as well. This is excellent. Good job, Jarvis. Oh, better be a way to control it, Jarvis. Smart. That's it, Lindsay. Keep the impact point out front. And time. Okay, all the way to G and all the way to D. Great. That's great. I love seeing those. Yeah. I love seeing those forward impact points, and I like seeing when you were sending friendly balls. You know what? Why don't we mix partners here? So, Linda, can you stay where you are? Everyone else, can you rotate one position to your left, please? So, Bill, you'll come all the way around. Linda's going to be what we call the anchor. Okay, it's the same contest. How many in a row to get a letter? 5. You've now got a new teammate. On your marks. Get set. Go. It's a way to keep that impact point out front. That's okay. That's okay. Forehands and backhands. Good job, Bill and Linda. Okay, a little higher, Jarvis, and you'll have a better chance to get those letters. Good. That's it. Okay. Control the speed here, Bill. Make it easy for her to get it back. That's the way to hustle, Lindsay. Okay. That's one time where you could control it, right? And then make sure you can send it back the way that you want. That's the way. Oh, they're at G over here. You're doing great. Keep it up. And time. Wow. Okay, put your hand up if you got to A or better, B or better, C or better, D or better. Wow. E, F. You got to E, G, H. Wow. Wow. New record.
I got the good partner.
That's great. Okay.
Tip number 1 is that we should think about pickleball mainly as a game about chasing the ball. Yes, of course, it involves hitting the ball, but really you can't use your beautiful swing if you can't get to the ball. Instead, pickleball is a game about chasing, getting to the ball, setting up. If you're not there, can't use that swing. Go out on the court, imagine you are a ball chaser, and that'll help you play better right away. It's really important to remember that the more space we have, the more time we have. That is, the farther away the person hitting the ball is from you, all things being equal, the more time you're going to have to set up for it. So whether you're talking about serving deep or returning deep, or even just playing good defense, the farther away you are from the other person, the more time it will take for that ball to travel. So keep this in mind when you're serving, when you're returning serve, or when you're just trying to play some great defense. It is really important to play pickleball with a certain mentality, a mentality that you are going to find a way to put one more ball in the court. And it's not always pretty. Sometimes you have to scrape and scratch, improvise a little bit, just find a way to get the ball in the court once more than your opponents. After all, that's how you win a rally, isn't it? We can call this pressuring your opponents with consistency. Imagine if you were that player or you were that team that your opponents always thought, you know what, they never miss. They always get one more ball back in the court. Even when we think we've hit a winner, somehow they find a way to get that ball back in play. And while this does involve, certainly, physical skills and athletic ability, it is also very much about an attitude. So if you can step on the court and you have the attitude that you are going to find a way to get every ball back in the court, you're going to be well prepared to put that kind of pressure on your opponents by being steady. And yes, it's true, you can work on your physical skills so that they match that mentality, but it always starts with the mindset. Find a way to put one more ball in the court. The more trouble that you're in, the less swing you should take. And this is a mistake that sometimes intermediate players make, certainly beginning players, is that sometimes when we're in trouble, when we're chasing a ball, when it's far away from us, we sometimes flail at the ball. But remember, the more trouble you're in, the harder it's going to be to hit the ball cleanly in the center of your paddle. So take less swing and make the quality of the contact better. It's true that pickleball involves hitting drops on the third shot and other times as well. But remember, a drop is a risky shot. hit that ball a little bit too high and your opponents get to smash it, hit the ball a little too low or a little too slow and it's in the net. And so it's really important that we have on the table another option, especially for those third shots. And that other option is the third shot drive, a low and fast ball. Now, why would you play a drive? Well, there's a few good reasons. One of them is just the consistency reason. Most people will find it easier to play that fast ball low over the net rather than that slow drop that has to be perfect. But there's another good reason to play drive too, and that is an offensive reason. That when you hit hard, you're giving your opponents less time to set up, less time to prepare. And that's generally a good thing. People like to have more time to set up. So my suggestion to you is that you start by hitting drives. Hit those low fastballs to your opponents and see how they handle them. It's important, of course, that you can go out and practice so that you can control the height of your drive so it stays low, preferably less than one paddle height over the net. Test out with your opponents and see if they can handle it. And if they can't, you've got a winning strategy. It's also important to be able to play drops, these low and slow balls that are designed to force your opponents to hit up on the ball. If they have to hit up, they can't hit that hard and still keep the ball in play. And this might give you a chance to start to move forward toward the net and be able to apply some pressure yourself. It's really important you go out with practice partners and you work on hitting those drops. They don't necessarily have to bounce, and they don't have to land in the kitchen, but it is important that they force an upward hit from your opponent. When it comes to pickleball strategy, keeping the ball low is the name of the game. And this is true whether we're talking about third shots, or we're talking about fourth shots, we're talking about our volleys, we're talking about our dinks or our drops. We need to keep that ball low. We need to force our opponents to hit up as much as possible. If we give our opponents high balls, they're able to hit on a downward trajectory. And if they can hit down, they can hit hard. So whether we're up near the net or we're in the backcourt, learning to keep that ball low over the net, one paddle height or so, is a really important strategy. The height of your shot is controlled by a few factors, including the angle of the paddle at the moment of contact, the swing path, and the speed of the ball. Remember, if you're playing a drop, that ball is likely going to have some kind of an arc. The question is, how big will that arc be? And if you give the ball more speed, it's going to be a bigger arc. Less speed, it'll be smaller and tighter to the net. When your opponents fail to keep the ball low, this is the green light for you. This is your chance to hit hard. Remember, when you receive a ball that's net high or above, you can start to hit on a bit of a downward trajectory. And if you can hit downward into the court, then you can hit the ball fast and still keep it in play. So when you're up at the net and you're getting that high ball, think of this as your opportunity to swing freely, to hit hard, to steal time from your opponents. And it may not win you the point outright, but if you can hit fastballs, it's more likely your opponents are going to struggle and give you something else you can pounce on. When you're hitting slow balls, whether it's a dink or a drop, you should consider hitting cross court. When you watch advanced players, you'll see most of their slow shots go on the diagonal. There's a few reasons for this. One is that when you hit cross court, you're hitting over the lower part of the net. And if you're hitting over the lower part of the net, well, it makes your shot a whole lot easier. Second reason to hit cross court is that it moves your opponents more. Because the ball lands and then rebounds on the same trajectory it was sent, it's more likely to make them move. And if people are moving when they hit, they're less likely to be successful. And finally, when you hit cross court, you've got more room to work with, making it more likely that you force your opponents to hit up. Pickleball is a game and games should be fun. So when you're out there and playing, make sure that you're having a great time. If you're not having fun on the court, well, maybe it's time to take a break. Maybe it's time to step away for a couple days until you're really hungry to come back out there. Of course, pickleball games, especially if you're a competitive player, can sometimes get intense, and that's alright. But we need to make sure that that intensity doesn't become so overwhelming that we're not enjoying playing pickleball. So my suggestion to you is keep an eye on your fun factor. If it continues to be fun and you're having a great time, perfect. And if it's not, well, maybe take a little bit of a break, go do something else, and come back when you're ready.